Alrighty, how's it going, everyone? Good afternoon, and welcome back to the Net Hotline. So, my name is Justin Leon, a board member here with RecNet, and we're so excited to kick this off with just talking to you guys and having a good time. Now, I love to mention this in our hotlines, and I want to mention this as this is our second session, but this session is not a meeting, it's not a webinar, but it's truly a conversation, right? It's an opportunity to connect with professionals alike ranging from students, vendors, and recreation professionals themselves to get a chance to connect as one big group and have a good time picking each other's brain. The session topic at large is real world best practices. Now, what that means is we're not looking for the picture perfect answer on how to handle a situation, but more so just best practices that seem to work, some things that may not work, and really get a feel of how everyone's feeling and having a good time in this current season. It's January. It's February now. Actually, it's the new year. I feel like January was so long, but we're finally in February. And with the new year, there's some new challenges and new beginnings and new experiences all in all. So it can be a chaotic time as we gear up for Valentine's Day, Super Bowl, and spring break creeping upon us. So I think it's a good opportunity for us to go ahead and connect and see how everyone's doing. Before I dive into any questions and share some feedback and share some experiences myself, I do want to see who's on the call today. So if you all can, if available, can unmute one at a time and just share who you are and where you're from, whether you're joining us from New York, Florida, or in the Smoky Mountains. We would love to learn a little about who's on the call today.
I'll go ahead and kick it off.
Awesome.
I'm Andrew Minton. I'm currently up in the Northeast, up in West Virginia, and it is currently 15 degrees outside.
Woo.
A little bit chilly. I don't know how cold it is up there in New York, but yeah, in West Virginia, it's still pretty chilly.
Here in Florida, Andrew, it just hit 55 degrees, and this is our peak winter season. We're freezing.
Well, I heard Florida did have a little cold front that came through, and people were saying it was down in the single digits there for wind chill for a few days.
Oh yes, yeah. Last week, in fact,
Ooh,
it was a crazy time for us.
yeah.
I'll go second. My name's Emily. I'm a recent college grad from Illinois State, so I'm joining in from Central Illinois. My background is like
Congratulations.
the beach, but it's a lot colder where where I'm at.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Congratulations, and Emily, thank you for joining us today. Super excited to have you on the call.
Hi, Emily. I'm your neighbor. I'm in Minnesota.
Woo, woo,
You
woo.
understand? I'm sure you guys are getting some snow too.
I mean, we finally went up to 37 today. It was above freezing. It was amazing.
Ooh, warm front coming in.
Well, my name is Annie, and I'm in New Paltz, New York. And Andrew, I'm sorry to tell you it's 28 degrees here, but we are expected to get negative temperatures this weekend. So I think you're giving us your cold weather again.
Uh,
Um, but
it's
yeah.
coming back my way too. It's -1 this weekend,
Oh,
from what
I'm
I
so
see.
sorry.
So,
Oh, so sorry. Yeah, I actually didn't put a winter hat on for the drive home today, which is like a first in like a month or more.
I think I'm next. I'll go. I'm Ashley Miller. Currently, I'm in Marco Island, Florida. Justin, I think I have you beat by 1 degree, so it's 56 degrees here.
Woo.
Still freezing for us. So that's all.
Aw.
And looks like Lisa just joined the call. So, Lisa, you are right on time to get this party started. We're just having everyone check in to see who they are and where they're from at this moment.
Hi, everybody. I'm Lisa Linden. I'm from Aurora, Illinois, right outside of Chicago. And it's cold. I don't know. I think we were supposed to hit 32 heat wave today. So, but I think the temperature's dropping. And then next week, I think we're in our 40s. So, um, I'm with Creative Recommendations. I just joined a team called, and Company, Dale Hips and Company. And so I got a couple of projects lined up and soon to be announced.
Ooh, exciting, exciting. Now, as we get started on today's hotline, once again, the theme here is going to be best practices, right? And as I mentioned earlier, best practices are not necessarily what's wrong or right. It is just simply what's working for you at this time, right? And ultimately, when I think about best practices recently, it's really not even in the sense of doing more to get to the objective, but it's simply doing something that may be a little bit more strategic or even doing less at times that will allow success inside of your operation or maybe success inside of your culture itself. So once again, this call, I want to do it a little bit different than our first session. And I really want to engage with you all more as viewers to allow you to share your best practices and have a good time. And we'll go ahead and guide the conversation. Now, to dive right into it, I want to talk about operation alignment, right? And more so in simple terms, just your operations, whether it's at a country club or resort or even on a cruise, or for Lisa's exact measure, a consulting opportunity, right? But more so when it comes to your operations, I want to see if someone's open at this time. And if not, I'll share my personal feedback on what's an operational change you have recently made that has bettered your success. This does not mean has brought more revenue, but just simply bettered it overall, whether it's team culture, team morale, or revenue based. Would anyone like to share right away?
I'll jump in and kind of share something.
Thank you, Andrew. Go
So,
ahead.
of course, no. So, in my recent role at Net Hotline, one of the best things we looked at going into the winter season from an operational standpoint is we took the data that we had from previous years about amount of skiers, snowboarders, and lift passes that we'd sold throughout the winter season. We looked at our demographic, or not our demographic, but our occupancy levels throughout the January and February months, and we looked at really trying to realign what our operation looked like to maximize our profit, but also not have so many hours on our associates. The year before, we had about $40,000 in overtime that, because we were open for so much, and that was something we were looking at. So this year, in order to eliminate that, we looked at closing down on certain operational days, zero, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we're going to go dark because we only see, 10 skiers come up on those days. So we really took those, and that change itself really helped out our labor hours. It helped out our overall team efficiency, and it actually gave our team boost in team morale because they weren't working so many hours for not as much. Like, it's one thing working that much when they're busy and there are a lot of people there, but having people sit around for a day while there's nobody there, that just drags. And it doesn't create this good team feeling that you want. So we really looked at that operational aspect and made some positive changes.
That's amazing. And thank you for sharing. It's challenging as there's certain operations or companies per se that may not have the opportunity to allow flexible scheduling. And it's hard on the leader themselves to be able to manage a tight ship with limited staff. But I love how you were able to make that solution work and seeing the success it brought to your team's morale. Now, when it comes to the operation alignment, and more so any changes you've made recently to your operation that you have found some success in, whether that's team morale or actual revenue or guest satisfaction, would anyone else like to share? And if not, it's completely okay. We just want to give you the opportunity to share with us today. Oh, okay. Lisa, I see you unmuted.
Yeah, I was just going to share the teams that I work with over in the Indian Ocean. They have, for the most part, and a couple of teams are still struggling, but they're working towards it. They're doing all their kids registration digitally. And so it's all recorded. Obviously, it saves on paper, and they're very green friendly in the property. So it's saving on a lot of registration paper and sign in, sign out. So it's all done on their iPads, and it's just helped tremendously in recording and being able to easily find the parents for them to sign in, sign out. So, and it's great because when they send their end of month reports, they can just send the link to me and I can review it. And so it makes it a lot easier, across the seas as well as local.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that. Even that insight really goes such a long way. Now, on the guest experience side, right? Now, this side is very important. And to me, small details make a large impact. So I have a story to share on this, and I'll kick it off. And then I would love for you all to take the time to not only listen, but think about what small detail you have made in your operation that has made a big impact on the guest experience. And a story I can share actually happened less than 24 hours ago, as I have the opportunity to lead as resort experience director at a new property here for me. So I'm the new guy in town with a big team. And more so during a night shift last night, in fact, I was walking through our game room, which is a pretty average size game room. It's not too large, but it's definitely not too small. And throughout our counters, we had a lot of advertisement, from whether it's restaurant advertisement or resort experience advertisement. But unfortunately, some of the flyers were just a paper with drawn out promotion on it, or it was a really nice flyer made by our marketing team, but it was taped onto the wall. And while the idea of getting that message out there was amazing, the actual look of it, the presentation, wasn't too appealing to our guests. Right. So we haven't seen the impact just yet, as this happened last night, but I had the chance to meet with our supervisor team this morning and not necessarily coach them, as it's all brand new, but talk about training their critical eye and being able to recognize how to promote in a way that looks appealing to our guests, and talk to them about how, while yes, the tape is a simple thing and it gets to the objective of getting that flyer out there, the tape does not look to the standard of a big corporation, right? So being able to train on that critical eye of what looks nice, what doesn't look nice, while getting to the objective. And we went ahead and ordered some counter cards that the flyer will be in almost a cardstock material that stands up on its own, as well as just simple paper holder little things that we can print out the flyers as normal and put them there for our guests to take away. So to me, a small detail that we went ahead and implemented was just looking on how we actually put out material and recognizing, hey, let's not put out a paper flyer, but let's go ahead and get with our marketing team to get the proper signage out. Or if we don't have a marketing team, I would suggest having a talented individual work on Canva or Adobe and being able to put together a nice flyer there where you can print it out and post up in your areas in a nice fashion that is not necessarily just taped up to a wall, to ensure that when your guests walk around or residents, they're not just seeing a 50-50 product, but they're seeing satisfaction and they're seeing cleanliness. So that's a small detail that we implemented just today, right? Focusing on one, building the team's critical eye. So it's not just our management team recognizing when something needs to be a little bit more clean or look a little bit more presentable, but our line level supervisors of having that approach each and every day as they walk, and also taking the approach of saying, hey, we're so excited to market. We love marketing, but we want to make sure when we put things up, they look nice and to the standard. Now, in my experience, this has been a huge success of making sure things are organized and cleanliness. So while yes, it just happened in my operation last night, I wanted to share with you all today on that simple, small detail that we did for our guest experience will then make a big impact later. Would anyone else like to share on a small detail that they have made that can possibly make a big impact in the guest experience?
Justin, I'm just going to chime in on what you just said. That is like one of my biggest pet peeves when I walk around and I see those things taped to the doors and then come back 3 days later and it's still there, or, the event has already happened and the old flyer is still up. So, it's important, like you said, that the professionalism, the look, everything about that. So I wouldn't say it's a small detail. I think maybe because it's my pet peeve that, it's huge. So my staff knows now that once an event's over, they run around and gather all the old, stuff. And we ordered the plastic things that stick on the doors, and we're leaning towards now getting the marquee boards when you come in on the property.
Nice.
So
Nice.
hopefully I can get rid of all those other little things.
Oh yeah, I agree with you. It's definitely a pet peeve of mine as well. Fun facts are funny enough. Yesterday, when I was doing the round of the game room, the team looked my way out of nowhere. I almost like shocked them because I was just walking, and then all you heard was as I took down one of the flyers there, and then I shared with the team my reason as to why. But thank you so much for sharing that. I think presentation is everything, as that is the guest's first impression for some opportunities in the outlets. So being able to have a clean environment and a presentable environment is key, and it's the first start to the guest experience.
And I
Well,
love,
oh.
oops, sorry, go ahead.
Just wanted to mention something kind of similar, like with the presentation. We sell ice cream on our pool deck, and we don't actually have an ice cream stand or anything like that. We just use a mobile cooler that will roll out and scoop ice cream from there. And it's just a black, like, pop-up cooler. So I decided to make on Canva a banner that looked like an ice cream shop. And so I attached that with Velcro just to the cooler. It pops up and it has like a cute blue and pink old-fashioned ice cream look to it now. And we've sold more ice cream now that we have that. So super easy, really cheap change, but worked, got our ice cream out there even more.
Oh yeah, I love the fact that that small change was able to allow you to drive more revenue, and that's what it's all about. Andrew,
So
you were going to chime in?
yes, no, I mean, first off, I love this topic. I mean, I always tell my teams the small things lead to big things, like just like you said. And I would even challenge like you as leaders, like how do you train your teams to do things like that? One of the things that I do is, if I see those types of things, I don't just go and correct it because that doesn't train my team in order to have that visual eye for it. So I will take pictures of the area and like in our morning huddles, like yeah, I will at that point I'll take pictures and I'll remove it, but I'll have that documentation, and then we'll have a picture in our morning huddles. We'll have the whole team there. I'll lay it out on the table and be like, okay, guys, what's wrong with this situation? What's wrong with these pictures? And have them identify it as well and show them. That way, everybody is learning, and it's not just the leader every time going around and ripping things down. It's training the team to have that eye every time. And that's a huge thing because the next thing I was going to bring up is you mentioned the guest perspective. So it might even be a subconscious thing. Like when people walk into an area that has things taped up on the wall, their immediate perception of especially if you're a high end resort, is, well, these people don't have it together. They have tape on the walls, and that they might not be thinking that consciously, but that is the first step of you not having your stuff together. And then if, say, the next thing goes wrong, like, and that just like those little things will start to pile up on their end that don't go wrong. Whereas if you have a nice, clean, presentable looking environment, that's one less thing that can add to their bank that they can complain about later. So if you eliminate that thing that's very easily controllable, you're going to have a better guest experience in the long run.
Indeed, indeed. And thank you so much for sharing. The small details really go a long way, which is why I was so excited to add this to our chat today. Now, before we head into the next category, just want to give everyone one final chance. Would anyone love to share a small detail they have made that has made a major impact within the guest experience?
I just have a real quick one, and it's something that I think everybody does, but it's good to just say out loud, is just make sure you have really open and uh, constant contact and communication with the departments that are going to be helping promote your events. So the front desk, concierge, all of that, because if they don't understand how to tell the guests what your new event is, reading it from the activity schedule or something else, it's not going to sell well. They're not going to be as interested. It also makes the um, wherever you're working look disorganized because recently, sorry, my dog is right here. Recently, I had the front desk answer a question that in theory they should have known how to describe, but what did she say? She said something in reference to, I don't know, I've only been here so long or whatever it was, but it just was not a good look overall. So we had a conversation behind the scenes about what it was and maybe next time to say something else and just have those get them excited about it, because if they're excited, then the guests will be excited too. And just make sure, everybody understands what's going on, basically. So there's my dog.
Hey, I was going to say you have to show the dog now.
Yeah.
So that's awesome.
She just realized I got home, so now she's right here. But yeah, I'll mute myself.
And I love that feedback. In fact, when it comes to recreation at large, especially for an example at a resort where internally there's multiple departments that have a lot of their own operations and functions going on. But when it comes to the guest experience, the guests don't care that there's multiple different teams behind the scenes. It's one team, right? So to add a best practice, I like to lead with whenever we release a new program, we like to try to change it up every quarter in management to each department's stand up and pre-shift. And we don't only just say, hey guys, check out all of our activities, but we select a quick one that we can do, or maybe we take just a small part of one of our game shows and we host it right then and there with those team members. And then once we complete that in their pre-shift, we let them know once again, hey, this is what our guest is going to experience at large in a full-scale production. And you guys just got a glimpse of it. So now not only do you get to know what's going on, but you kind of got a full glimpse and feel of how it would make the guests feel. So they can not only be a better advocate at that, but once again, be knowledgeable. I also love to share with any team member I can share this message with is we're a big advocate of if the guests know, they will go. So it's important to share that message out with every team member, even our landscaping team, so they can be able to answer that question of what's going on tonight. More specifically, if you're at a property that's very large, sometimes the teams don't really know, or the guests might not know what's happening on the opposite end, which is where the function is. So it's really important to get that message out. So thank you, Andy, for sharing. Emily, I noticed that you're now on mute. Would you like to join?
Yeah, I can honestly speak on your story from the staff perspective because I was an environmental educator in Alabama, and basically we were teaching a bunch of different geology classes, ecology classes, and the center basically had like a veteran staff member, a leadership staff member run us through every single class. So I felt like it really gave me the confidence speaking in front of 13 students and chaperones to like have that experience beforehand. I don't know, I felt like it really was a game changer.
Yeah. Oh, that's amazing. And first and foremost, thank you so much for sharing that with us today. We're so excited again to have you on the call. Now, as we shift away from the guest experience topic, I want to go ahead and now dive into intentional experience, right? And intentional hospitality at that. Because as we all know, guests may not remember each and every activity or recreation program they attend, but for sure, as it's known famously, they will always remember how you make them feel. Right. And with that, it's so important that we not only understand that message, but we share that message with our teams. So every single person within the staff recognizes the strong and the big impact they have to make. So before I share some stories, I do want to open it up again for anyone to share with us a moment or a moment of strategy you've implemented within your team to focus on that intentional hospitality to be able to make sure that guests feel something when they are engaging within your staff.
I'll go first.
Woohoo!
So these are old school books, been around forever, but my staff, every time they come on board, new staff, whatever, Raving Fans is one, and then the follow-up Gung Ho. And they're reading Gung Ho right now, and we're having our Oprah Book Club lunch in 3 weeks, I think it is, to discuss it. But it's all about creating the raving fans. Let's don't give them something to complain about. Let's give them something to rave about. And then the company that I work for Service Residential, everybody does Google reviews. Our company actually gives out Amazon gift cards if you receive so many Google reviews. And, we kind of have to watch some of them that they're just not handing the cards out saying, hey, go online and, give me a review. But those are ways that I engage the team and get them to engage our residents. I'm at a master plan community with 2,800 homes. So we see them every day, 365 days of the year.
That's a challenge in itself. Now, on the topic of being intentional and sharing that mission with your team, is there any stories anyone else would like to chime in to share?
Greetings, everyone. This
Gary, I
is
see that
Gary.
you unmuted.
Yes, I am driving right now,
Are you
so I
ready
can't get
now?
off my video. They won't allow me to do that. But great to be here. Thank you for having this awesome conversation. I think it's about learning about that guest, and what we like to do is ask the what questions, not the how is your day, what are you looking for, or what are you doing today. Like, find out what is the most important thing, and then maybe if they give you an inkling, then you can make that happen for them if it's possible. You know, I can't wait to find a shark's tooth. Well, if they don't find that shark's tooth, well, what can you do? I'm sure I have a few in my back pocket that want to make some kids smile. So asking the what question, not so much what the day has or what we want to bring, but what is most important to you, or what are you looking forward to, or what's the best part of your stay? Focusing on the positive, not how's your stay, good, bad, but what has been the best part, and then they can always reflect on that. So just another way of asking the questions to get what guests want out of it, and then you can also respond with that information.
So, I was gonna say, Gary, I love that. The what we called it was golden nuggets. You're looking for a little golden nugget in there within that conversation, so that way, you get that little golden nugget that you can then use later on to make that guest experience even that much more memorable.
Absolutely. We call it the power of what. So everyone has their little piece, and as long as it works and makes someone feel good, the golden nugget of the golden what, that's awesome.
I think we just coined our own term, the golden what. That's a RecNet thing now. I'll trademark it. No, hashtag trademark. There we go.
I was just
awesome.
gonna
Thank you so much for sharing. Yes.
I was just gonna also let Belinda know another good book in the back retro recreation world is Hug the Customer. It especially helps when you've got a upset guest, how to hug that customer and turn it around.
We would have to use that on a daily basis, probably. We had one today in there complaining about one of the events, and it was quite the ordeal.
You just got to give them a hug.
Emotional hug.
Yes, right. I got to check the book out. Now, thank you so much for sharing. Something that we like to share with our teams right away. This is a simple, which is just really educating our staff on as to why we may think too deep and think, guess what? Truth of the matter is, yes, there may be a lot of celebratory events or anniversaries, but there's also, and it's I can't think of the statistic right now, but there's a lot of guests who vacation because they went through some sicknesses and the doctor's given them X amount of time to live, right? Or maybe they lost their family member in this month, and each year they decide to take a trip in honor of that person, right? And when it comes down to the non-celebratory aspects, it can be a very sensitive vacation for some. And when they're anticipating to have a good time and celebrate this sensitive topic, little inconveniences can chime them off, right? So being able to showcase that or educate our team on the reasons as to why guest vacation and the big impact they have on a guest experience, I think is so important to share with our guests so that they can be able to, or share with our team so they can be able to recognize I have the opportunity to really make an impact, even if it starts with a simple, hey, how's it going? And a positive attitude. Now, as we hit our 30-minute mark, I do want to say we have a handful of experience on our call today. And the purpose of our RecNet hotline is to simply talk to our teams, talk to our partners, and really focus on, hey, what's working for you, what's not working for you, and really share some real feedback. So, is there any questions or stories or advice that either of you would like to share with us today on call? As we have a handful of members here where one of us can chime in and give some advice or share some awesome stories from the past. Going once, going twice.
I'll ask this. I think a lot of people are, and I like how you guys approach guests and see what they like or see what they want. But how do you approach people around the pool? Whether it's bingo time or trivia time, how do you handle that in just the approach of making them feel comfortable in uncomfortable situations?
Yeah, and to chime in on that, I have a lovely water park at my resort now, and I've had water parks throughout my career. And what we like to do at large is we always want to start off our uncomfortable conversations with our guests by really starting with the basics and jumping in and saying, "Hey, how's it going? How are you? I'm Justin," right? And really introducing yourself at first, maybe showcasing your title and just really saying, "How's it going today? What's going on? Talk to me a little bit about your experience," and really start from scratch rather than jumping in and when it's an escalated matter and saying like, "Hey, what's going on here? Let talk to me, or let's try to figure it out." But before we even talk about escalations, I want to share one quick thing that we do on the pool deck, which is from the restaurant industry, and we call it table touches. But more so, we don't say it needs to be a specific table, but just being able as a member of leadership to go around to a group, whether they're waiting in line or at a table or just sunbathing on the side of the pool deck, and start up a conversation. Because when someone sees that the water park supervisor took time out of their busy day to talk with the guests and see where they're vacationing from and how their experience is going, and if there's anything that they can do to make it better, they have that wow moment, but they also build the connection. So later on, if there is an inconvenience, they feel that they have the partnership to go talk to the water park supervisor or manager as they met that person earlier. And we stress table touches to the max. So in our slow moments and in our busy moments, we want our leadership team out on the pool deck to make sure that they greet themselves and don't just wait for when the moment's escalated, but make your presence known even when everything's okay. So the moment that there is an uncomfortable situation, the guest is already a little bit kind of escalate or de-escalated at itself, or kind of taken off of their big stage and more so feeling relaxed because, oh, I remember Justin, the resort experience director, he talked to me earlier, let me go to him, I'm sure he can solve my problem. Now, any other notes or stories you all would like to share? And what I want to mention too is what makes RecNet Hotline so special is there's no right or wrong story, right? Or right or wrong answer, our best practice, etc. This is truly a conversation where people in the industry, from students, vendors, and professionals themselves, to be able to just chat, right? As I'm sure everyone can agree here, when it comes to recreation at large, not a lot of people understand us, right? Or not a lot of people understand what we do, more so thinking, oh, you guys just have a good time. But there's a lot of work that goes into it, a lot of ups and downs. So I think what makes the hotline so special is being able to connect with those individuals who understand the ups and downs and everything in between, and be able to talk to us a little bit about what's going on. So if you all don't have any more questions or stories, we'll begin to
I'll tell
wrap
you
up.
something, Justin.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's interesting. I teach at Winona State, and I have undergrads, and even just this week we're working on. They have speeches of introduction. They're introducing people at a fake conference and so forth, and I tell them, even if you pronounce their name wrong, or even if you don't say they played the tuba in such and such band and they were the lead violin, you just keep going because it's about what the audience hears. It's building that person up. You still might lose 1 point or something, but that's out of 50 points. That's not a big deal. What the biggest part is not what you say, but how they hear you. and what they hear and what their feelings are, because we're talking about projecting to an audience and so forth, but it's the same in other aspects in hospitality. But I'm just really pushing that these last few weeks, especially as students. It's what I said, what I put in the paper. Did I follow the rubric? I'm like, it's not like that beyond here's our shift. So let's stop thinking what's in the rubric and let's start thinking, how do I do this? How do I charm? How do I connect? How do I get people so excited about the next speaker or the next activity? So it's kind of a fun mind shift that I've been working on with them.
Oh,
Dr. Phil, I will absolutely support that. You have to build your own confidence before you can present it to somebody else. I do not know a lot about a lot of things, but I can not pretend, walk in with confidence and go, yes, this is how we're going to do it today. Yes, we're going to play a game. And yes, this is what we're going to present about. I get that from my GM often. Gary, how do you know about so much? Sir, I don't. I learned from this and that, and I present it as I do. So I think that's a really good topic you're teaching your students, and it's not all about the bullet points. It's what you're saying to get the point across to get someone listening.
Yes. And how did they feel? Yeah.
I thank you so much for sharing that topic. I am a huge supporter of it. In fact, I use that in different ways all the time with my staff. And from the host level, I like to say, you just got to go out there and do it. They don't know what's right or wrong as the guests. They're just seeing it firsthand and getting that experience. And, there's a quote that I love to share it when I have talks. And I forgot who it's by, but it's basically saying you just have to do it anyway. And a lot of times I can relate to this whenever we're at a big town hall and I do a full-on speech. Public speaking is scary to everyone. So when someone does it good, everyone's like, how did you do that? What's the matter? Aren't you scared? But I always tell them, and I tell my team, I'm like, heck yeah, I'm scared. I might be nervous. I just do it anyway, right? Or sometimes you may be like worried a little bit that you might look wrong or say the wrong thing. We just got to do it anyway. And I think Gary said it, but it's really not faking it at all, but it's troubleshooting and leading with confidence and just going out there and doing it anyway. And 9 times out of 10, it works out in their favor. So thank you for sharing that topic. I think it's so important, especially in the experience industry. Emily.
Yeah, I have a motto that I don't know, but I'm going to figure it out. I feel like that I said that so much in all of the past internships that I've had, seasonal jobs. It's, maybe I don't know the answer right now, but I'm going to figure it out because I feel like recreation is one of those fields where every day is different and you don't know what's coming through the door. You don't know what each person's going to give you. So just being able to be flexible and be adaptable and also keep that hospitality personality is, super important. But it's also, I feel like something that I maybe don't have as polished in my, I'm not as experienced with it, but I know that as like the years go by, I'll eventually be able to polish it up. But definitely super important.
Oh,
Emily,
yeah. And you
I think
definitely will. Go ahead.
I think you hit the nail on the head. Every day in recreation is unique and different, and I know all of the other professionals on this call can vouch for that because we've seen quite a bit. And Phil, when you talked about how life is not based on a rubric, and that's really hard, I think, for students to transition once you actually start going into the real world because there's metrics that they're trying to tick off to get that, 4.0 or whatever grade that they're trying to achieve. I mean, I have 2 kids and they're both in middle school, and my one lives by her school rubrics. And I'm like, this is great. And I know you want that number, but this is about stepping off to the next platform and how you're going to apply all of that to real world situations, not just the fact that, Mr. G gave you a 98 and you missed those 2 points. So, yeah.
Yeah. I like to say, and this is very cliche, but every day is a new adventure in recreation, right? And, your motto is so important, and I'm sure it will find you so much growth as every professional has been there. And I've recognized throughout my career, you need to keep that same mentality and motto as you keep on growing. Funny enough, when it comes to one of our core values here with my company, we like to say work ethic is a core value, and it's not just showing up and having a good work ethic, but it's showing what you're made of, right? So being able to be adaptable and flexible and fit figure it out and not just say, I ran into the wall, but I have the chainsaw and I'm going to figure it out and get right through it, right? And finding that solution is so key. And what I tell in new hire orientation, and I'm referencing that, I actually just talked to a whole bunch of new hires today, which is if you can just put a little bit of your best foot forward and just put that extra step, just a tad bit, that little bit would eventually take you such a long way and open many growth opportunities and just showcasing what you're made of, which is figuring out and getting to the objective by any means. This is once again what makes RecNet so special, is being able to have these quality conversations where we are real with each other, talking about real problems and real success to be able to learn something. Now, as we close out, I do want to share our goal and intention is not for each of you to leave with a full checklist on how to be successful, but it is simply the goal to make sure that one or two of you can leave with just one or two things, or even just a reassurance at the fact that other people are going through the same things, or hey, this works, let's try it out, or oh wow, I thought I was the only one, but Phil's also experiencing it, right? And really that good community feeling of what we have to offer. And I think that's once again the key here, and what makes us so special is being able to connect on a real human base and have a good time. So before I close out, just want to mention it one more time. The floor is open. Is there any stories, advice, or questions you would like to ask or share?
Has anybody on the call ever opened up a new building or operation from like Brickstone, and any tips or tricks that they would love to share? This late spring, I'll be opening up a brand new building for the very first time, something I've never done before. And even though I have 20 plus years experience in the field, it's still a little daunting, but extremely exciting. So just putting it out there. I know, Lisa, you opened up a brand new, when you were at Atlantis, the children's program, and you got to help build that from scratch. And Belinda, I'm sure you've seen a couple of cool things too. So Gary, I don't know if you've ever opened up something from scratch like that before.
Yes, mini golf course, camp,
Okay.
fitness facility. Just know the first day is gonna go wrong.
Yes.
We had smoke in our ventilation system the first day at camp
Aw.
that we were not anticipating. For our fitness, I think the air conditioning went down. So you're gonna plan for everything, and you know what you're gonna do and how it's gonna feel, and you're like, it's good, and you're like, oh no, we forgot the pens, or the smallest little detail, until you actually walk into that space and realize, oh, that blind doesn't go down. Plan for everything, think about it 3 times over, but something's going to go wrong. But it's not you, it's the process.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I like that.
There's never enough walkthroughs before the doors open.
Fair point. Yeah, we were talking today, and we have a weekly construction meeting with our engineers and on-site team, and we were loosely talking about the soft opening versus like what we're telling the guests is the actual opening, and then what the other date would be when we actually start really promoting stuff publicly. So we have potentially 3 different dates in mind at the moment. So.
Oh yeah.
Yes, with the construction or development, there might be a few headbutts as you get closer to that day, and don't take it personal.
Yeah, exactly.
I've had the opportunity to open up 2 water parks now, and a few activity centers, and a few more minor things. And one thing I will stress is, you're not by yourself. So you need to make sure you utilize your partners, more specifically within like risk management and security, and corporate partners if that's available. A fun story is we recently opened up a water park on National Water Park Day in 2025. And everything was going great. It was primarily open for the public and to bring the local community towards the resort. And then after having record-breaking because it was brand new, record-breaking sales, we actually had to close off to the public because no one from operations to corporate remembered the fact that when you are open to the public, you need to have a certain permit with the Department of Agriculture and Commerce to be able to actually sell to the public. Because here with my company, we have several water parks, but they're all just for resort guests. And the water park we recently opened was the first one open to the public. But more so, I would say really stress the partnership of with your compliance department or risk management to get their opinion on, hey, we're ready operationally, but just making sure everything's safe. Is there anything we need? So you'll be all set in stone and covered.
I love it. Thank you, everybody. It makes me smile too because I know most of us have all been through it at some point too. And Emily, it'll be in your future. So
Indeed. Well, all in all, I want to thank you all from RecNet and everyone and all of the board of directors. We're so happy to be able to host these calls monthly. And like I mentioned, it's not with the intention of a webinar or a meeting, but just a true conversation to be able to connect with students, vendors, and professionals and get to flow and go on real world practices. So thank you again. Gary, I see that you're on mute, so we would love to have you do a goodbye message.
Well, it is great to see everybody. We look forward to having you again next month. Hopefully, you'll be able to be at our meetup in February 15th as well. RecNet meetup in Central Florida is something I don't think we've done in many years. I think we have 16 unofficially, plus some LinkedIn. So we'll probably get to about 25, and that'd be great. And that's just the start. We would love to do it again in the fall. And I'm thinking about one in South Carolina and maybe in May with some of our partners there. So it's about building relationships and community. So that's what we're here for, and happy to be with you. And my daughter's here now.
Hey, thank you, thank you.
Gary, I love the puffer.
Yeah, it's a short sleeve, but it's 42 degrees. It's chilly.
Well, thank you all for joining. Your time is very valuable, so we appreciate you taking time out of your
Thank
day
you,
to
Justin.
chat today.
Great job, Justin.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks,
Have a
Justin.
good one, everybody.
Bye.
Thank you.